Hello everybody, I'm Don Counts and welcome into Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6. Today I've got a new friend of mine, Dreanne Newton.
Hey.
Dreanne, nice to see you.
It is nice to officially meet you. Big fan of Don's. I grew up watching you on Channel 6 and always seeing you out at the events, so this is a nice experience.
I told Gina that you grew up watching us and that made us...
I did. I remember Gina always hosting the Christmas parades and whatnot, so I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Well, we heard a little bit about Dreanne, a local girl. Tell us a bit about yourself.
I am currently the morning anchor of the CBS affiliate in Chattanooga. I have been anchoring for about 3 years, been at the station for about 4, and I guess I'm kind of working backwards. How I started there, I did an internship through the communication department at UTC and was very fortunate to have just been hired on almost right out of college. Wow. So, which as you know, in that medium, it never happens. TV is a really hard, I guess, career to break into. Yeah, you have to work very, very hard, as you know. Some people think it's all simple and easy, but it's really a lot of hard work. Let's back up one second, and we'll talk about you grew up in Fayetteville. Tell us your parents and that kind of thing. I know everybody at home, I know, is going, now who's her mom and daddy? My parents, Farley and Terry Newton, and nobody knows him by Terry, so Whitey Newton. Everybody knows Whitey, but those are my parents. I grew up here, born and raised, and went to Lincoln County High School, graduated in 2005. That's very telling of my age. I feel old now. I feel old when I come back home now. And I used to be the young kid at high school. And now,
you had a birthday this week.
I did. I had a birthday this week, turned the big 27. Now I'm on that slippery slope to 30.
So when you were at Lincoln County High School, did you want to do this for a living, or what made you get into this business?
I will tell you, and that's such a good question because that's really where it started for me. I don't know if I'm sure you had the privilege of meeting Bob Scott.
Oh, sure.
He was the drama teacher there at the high school forever, and I love him, and he taught me so much in drama class. I took it from him all 4 years, but I can remember he handed me a script one day. He would just come in and hand us scripts and say, make it work and figure it out, and it was a talk show type setting. The script, it was like the Thelma and Louise show. Yeah. And something, I know it sounds cheesy, but something just clicked. And so from there, I thought, this is something that I could really have fun with. And obviously I knew that I would have to start as a TV reporter, anchor, and then my goal was to eventually be the next Oprah Winfrey as far as like TV talk shows, but I think I've kind of changed direction there. I may be shooting a little big. So
yeah, well, she's got a little money.
She does have a little, but she actually started in Nashville as a reporter and anchor, and then now look at her, she's a billionaire. So that was my goal then. But more content just sticking with the news.
So after graduating Lincoln County High, you went to what school?
I went to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. In Chattanooga rather, and I really enjoyed the city. You couldn't have ever told me that I would have stayed there, especially because my parents. I'm very close to my mom and dad, and at my mother's urging, she was just really gung-ho about me moving back home after college and coming back here and finding a job, especially like in Huntsville, maybe at one of the stations, and then kind of going back to the whole, it just kind of worked out.
Sure.
I ended up, getting a job there at the station in Chattanooga, but I've loved it. I really enjoy it.
Chattanooga's a great town. Lots going on. So as you went into school, did you study mass communication?
I did. The communication there at Chattanooga, UTC, it was really good. A lot of good experience. They more prepared us for writing, newspaper, and PR type stuff, and so, but they have an on-campus news station, Mox News, and so I did a little bit of that, but I really got the most experience from my internship, and you had to complete that through the comm department's curriculum, and so that's where I really got the hands-on experience in the news industry.
So you got an internship at WDEF.
I did.
And so that sort of led you into where you're at now.
It did. I just really enjoyed it, but I'll tell you, it was kind of scary because that was around the time that stations were making cuts and consolidating, and that was when the whole like one-man band thing was really starting to take off. If you went into the news business, a one-man band is basically, you have to know how to do it all. And I had the idea that, well, if you were a reporter, then you were just the reporter. You held the mic and you talked, and that was it. But now it's moved into you need to know how to work the camera, and so it was a little overwhelming. I had a moment of, can I do all of this? But I went for it.
Well, it's the same situation with me. I can go out and shoot a program pretty easy, but if I've got to go interview and do the camera and whole 9 yards, it really requires a lot more post editing on the backside, and it makes it more difficult. I just got through having this conversation with my boss the other day, or with Britt, and I can do some things pretty quickly, but now you go anywhere you go now, you're seeing the reporter somewhat doing it all. Pretty
much. I mean, that's what it's moved into, and so I was really reluctant, and because I was like, can I really do all that? But it worked out, and how I started anchoring was just more or less in the right place at the right time. A lady who had been on our morning program for about 12 or 13 years, her family was moving to Texas, and the spot came open, and had, I guess, interviewed for it with my boss, and I don't know, I still like wake up some mornings and I'm like, is this really my life? Because I would have never thought that it would have happened this quickly.
So what time do you go on the air?
Well, we go on air. We're on air every morning, Monday through Friday, from 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. But I actually go into work. A lot of people don't know. I go into work at midnight because I produce the show as well as anchor it. And producing is basically I pick out the content for 3 hours, what we talk about each morning. And it's basically just a big puzzle that I put together of what we say when and what's the top trending stories and what have you. So it's meticulous, but I really enjoy it. So I like to organize.
Yeah, you have to be very organized to do that. But when you're looking at the whole concept, you're getting basically news clips and things like that you're going to lead into. Is that kind of thing?
Right. Typically, our reporters will go out. I'm lucky in the fact that I can take what they did at 11 the night before and kind of freshen it up, and then add. We always have the scanners going, and so if something breaks overnight, then I've got to make sure our crew gets out. But typically, we've got reporters that have been out the day before, and I take their video, refresh the scripts that they've written to go with the video, and it's just kind of a chain. It all kind of flows together. But obviously you start with, and this is, I feel like and you probably get this too, people will email and say, you only report the bad stuff. But as a general public, that's what you want to know.
That's true.
You want to know who got in a wreck last night. You want to know if anyone died. I mean, and so that's what's sad, especially living in a city like Chattanooga, where I think we just had our 100th shooting of the year since January. So there's always a lot of news, a lot of bad news, unfortunately, in Chattanooga. Yeah,
like my office has got the scanner going all the time too, because
Constantly.
I always want to know what's going on, even though we're really not doing news, but you sort of want to know what's going on,
Stay
and
in the loop.
you're trying to stay in the loop, and it feels good about being in this business to be able to be in the loop. Like in my case, I go to the Adlibbing County Commission. I know what's going on, and that makes you feel good in that position. And your concept is trying to get that on the air. Now, when you actually do, I guess your scripts and stuff, it goes to a teleprompter, I'm assuming.
It does go to a teleprompter, and if you've never been to a station and seen the teleprompters, they're a little intimidating. It took me a while to figure out how to actually learn to read, because I feel like people have a misconception, oh, well, you're just reading, but you have to read it in a way that it sounds conversational, and instead of being someone was shot last, you have to.
Right. Yeah, like Gina and I have this conversation all the time. Reading something is different than the writing side. Like she writes for the Tennessee Magazine. It's a whole other type of writing.
Sure.
And unless you've ever been on that side of it, you just don't know that. It's a whole different deal.
It's different. And writing for print is a lot different than writing for TV. And that took me a while to figure out as well. I had a lot of conversations with my boss. I would get called into his office and he'd be like, you're doing it all wrong.
Gina don't like it. Gina don't like it when I start getting the pen out. But you have to. You have to. You understand.
To make it conversational, you do. But so it all goes into the teleprompter. But now with us having a 3-hour morning show, there's only so much that is scripted. And so I've had to learn to ad-lib a lot. And it's made me more comfortable when I am in, I don't know if awkward's the right word, but awkward settings, maybe a first date. We'll just use that as a scenario. Yeah. It helps me to just, I guess, be able to think on my toes.
Sure.
And instead of, I don't know, you're kind of searching for ideas. But it's helped me in other aspects of my life.
I'm sure also that you're looking at timing a lot too, right?
You are on a time crunch. We have to take our commercial breaks at a certain time. We have to be out of the show. And actually, we ran into that problem in its live TV, so you really can't do anything about it. We ran into, and I say ran into, our show kind of overrid the CBS, like the Good Morning show. You know, we can get in some big trouble for that, but it's all about timing. So we have our poor director. He sits in the master control booth and he's yelling in our earpieces. He's like, "Be quiet already! You know, I've got to go to break." So it's stressful. It can be a little stressful.
I mean, I can pretty much tell, and most of us can tell when you're reading, but also when you're ad-libbing. And I guess you're ad-libbing going into the weather, maybe.
Going into most of your segues. The only parts of the show that are scripted is more or less the news stories that we read, and other than that, it's just all, we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And where we ad-lib the most, I was telling you, we were talking earlier before we started, we have guests that come in throughout our 6 o'clock show, and that's where we have to ad-lib the most. We had the Harlem Globetrotters come in. We've this week I had the folks from IHOP come in and make pancakes, and and so you get to have a lot of fun, creativity, but you have to try to have a normal conversation and make sure you're getting their agenda across because they have points that they need to talk about, and then you have to try to remember what you're doing over here, and so it's definitely, it keeps all your gears running.
That's good. Well, I mean, this whole business is just fascinating to me, and I'm very fortunate. We both are very fortunate to work in the business. And,
sure.
And I know, being 27, you've got lots of aspirations to do lots of things. Of course, DEF, they want to keep you there, I'm sure, for now. But we all look at, all have want that big gig.
Right. I used to, like I said, I thought I was going to be Oprah eventually, but now that I've gotten into it, and the older that I've gotten, I have grown to appreciate Lincoln County so much more. Not that I didn't before, but you're a kid and you're ready to move out and venture into the world, and I thought I'll never be back to Lincoln County. But now, the older I've gotten, I can't wait to come back to Lincoln County and be a part of this special community. There's nothing like it, and I'm not just saying this. I mean, especially being in a big city like Chattanooga, it's made me learn to appreciate the host of Christmas Past even more. And so I think my long-term goal, eventually I would love to move back here and hopefully get a job at a station in Huntsville at some point, and if not, something along the PR lines, stay in obviously the communication realm, but I don't know, if the news thing kind of runs its course and I'm supposed to go in a different direction, I'm okay with that, because I've had a lot of fun at a younger age. But as far as being on a national, I'm more content, we'll just say I'm more content to be a big fish in a small pond, because I know that the higher up you go, it's more competitive, more stressful. And I don't think I could stand to be that far away from my parents. I'm a big daddy's girl.
I agree. I think that you really don't appreciate Lincoln County until you leave Lincoln County, and then you realize really what we have here in our community.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, the older I get, I've learned to appreciate the small town football games and just even the slower traffic. I have learned to appreciate that more, especially after being in a big city. But no, there is just something very unique about Lincoln County, about the people here. I can be in Chattanooga, and this says a lot about the character of the people. But I've had grown men let the door shut in my face. Where here a man will literally dive in front of you to make sure that he's holding the door open for you. It's just Southern hospitality, and I feel it's just, you only get, I guess, a sense of community like that in a place here like Lincoln County. I don't know. There's just nothing like it.
One thing about this business too is there's a lot of things to branch off on, and fortunately, like Gina, in her writing, and we do both public relations, and so there's tons of public relations opportunities. Plus, we want to stay in the business as long as we can, and fortunately we get to do that. And Huntsville's a great market, Nashville's a great market, and you're still gonna be close to home. And we're really proud for you. Proud you've done so well, and appreciate you taking the time to come by here and talk to us about it.
Absolutely.
And one day, Gina and I will say, well, we've met you.
You stop it! I get to say I met you guys.
Oh yeah, because
that's a treat for me.
This is the Lincoln County big gig.
This is. Hey, this is where the the big happenings are. No, this is the guy. Don counts, everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the big gig.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they'll remember that on my check next week.
Got that,
Thank
check
you.
writers?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me in.
Thank you.
This has been a real treat for me.
I'm proud you're getting to come home to see your family this weekend, and I said you was here for a wedding last weekend, so you're really staying close to home.
I do. I'm here just about every weekend. Y'all just can't get rid of me.
Can people have any way of picking you up or finding you on the internet to see your work?
That is, yes. Unfortunately, I don't think you are able to pick it up, I guess, on like a satellite dish or anything. But if you head to WDEF.com, that's our website, and you'll see a tab that says This Morning, and that's the page dedicated just for our morning programming, and all of our wacky segments that we do are on there. And so yeah, so if you get bored, you want to do a little browsing on the internet, you can check out what's happening in Chattanooga news.
Yeah, that's really good. So we can be able to see the clips.
Yes,
video
yep.
clips.
You can see
Very
me.
good.
You can see me in action.
Dreanne Newton, thank you very much for coming by
My
today.
pleasure.
And it's nice to meet you.
Nice
We
to meet
wish
you,
you
Bill.
the best of luck. Gina and
Thank
I both
you.
hope that everything goes well, and hope to see you back in here in
Thank
Lincoln
you.
County sometime
Hey,
soon.
have me back anytime.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you watching here on Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6. We've had Dreanne Newton from WDEF in Chattanooga, a hometown girl done well, and we appreciate you watching here on Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6.